Right, Emmanuel Abadjo-Yafe is here with the business news. Good evening to you, Emmanuel.
All right. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Business. Ecobank Transnational Incorporated ETI says it has not brought an end to its acquisition drive as a growth strategy. ETI, which is the parent institution of Ecobank Ghana, has grown significantly across the continent through acquisitions and mergers. However, with the current financial challenges facing the group, there are speculations it will bring this strategy to an end. But speaking to Joy Business after the bank took its turn on the Ghana Stock Exchange Facts Behind the Figures session, Group Chief Executive Ade Ayeyemi says it's even looking at acquiring another bank in Ghana if the opportunity presents itself.
As a strategic intent, we've now acquired across all the countries. We now want to consolidate and execute against that. But that execution and consolidation of the execution does not mean that we will not, if we see an opportunity to do something, that we will not do it. But that is not what our go-to-market strategy is today. We've said that as an organization, we are not going to be number one in every market. It's not possible. The best way is to, in the markets where we are number one today, we need to create a distance to competition. In the markets where we are 1 to 3 today, we need to defend our position. In some key markets like Nigeria and Kenya, we want to make sure that we get to scale in those markets. But there will be markets where we will participate profitably because that's the best way to be able to deliver to our shareholders. We recognize that size can create a problem if it's not properly used. As an economist, I understand the value of economy of scale. But economy of scale that is not properly leveraged creates a problem. As you can see, we have our data center in Ghana. We use that across the group. That is leveraging economy of scale. We've said that we are going to create regional processing centers, having been able to create centrally and distribute across the group. That is leveraging economy of scale. We said that we are going to have our innovation in some places where we'll be able to create new products and distribute it across. That is leveraging economy of scale.
So revenue for the bank last year went up by some 9% to $2.4 billion, while profits declined by 73% to $107 million. Latest results covering its first quarter operations show that the bank is yet to come out of this challenge. Now, tax evasion and illicit financial flows cost Ghana over $500 million in lost revenue every year. That is according to a technical expert on exchange of information at the Africa Tax Administration Forum, RCTEBLanche. Now, speaking to Joy Business at the sidelines of the first Africa Tax Administration Forum, ATAF, consultative meeting of African Competent Authority, RCTEBLanche said building capacity of tax authorities to detect and prevent such illicit practices make economies competitive in the international markets.
When you look at the Global Financial Integrity Report, which they produce on an annual basis, when we look at the average illicit financial flow in total from African countries, we talk about $1 trillion over a period of about 10 years, and it's many jurisdictions on average loses between 500 million and $1 billion per annum in terms of illicit financial flows. It is extremely important to curb the illicit financial flows, because if you look at the greater scheme of your gross domestic product for a country, even if a jurisdiction is able to curb the illicit financial flows by about 10%, it really makes a significant contribution to the revenue administration, to the revenue collection, eventually to the state, in order to assist them to become more sufficient, more self-sufficient. Also, in order to utilize the money effectively, when we look at public schools, if you look at healthcare, that money is really extremely important for a jurisdiction in order to become competitive in the international market. It is extremely important for revenue administrations to implement exchange of information offices in the revenue administrations. The absence of an exchange of information office really curtails the progress that any revenue administration would like to make in terms of aspects around transfer pricing, aspects around illicit financial flows. Because the exchange of information program allows the revenue administrations to enter into agreements with other jurisdictions in order to obtain the relevant information that can help them to identify illicit financial flows. In the absence of the Exchange of Information Office, the Revenue Administration is just hampered by the inability to obtain information, and they really need to have this particular program in place in order to curtail illicit financial flows.
Right, so the program, organized by the Ghana Revenue Authority, hopes to assist African countries to mobilize domestic resources and build capacity of tax authorities to check the incidence of tax evasion. An institutional development specialist, Elizabeth Tolbeck, speaks about the rationale behind the consultative meeting of African Competent Authority in Ghana.
As part of the G20 development for the GDP goals, they've identified that BEPS is one of the most important programs for global development, and this is one program that's also very close to the African continent. And in line with transfer pricing and also illicit financial flows, in order to assist African countries to mobilize their own domestic resources, exchange of information has been marked as one of the most important programs for the African Tax Administration Forum to focus on. The program is a 3-year program, and within that we provide technical assistance through our expert facilitators, Mr. Terblanche and Mr. Oul, in order to upskill and also create awareness for exchange of information in the revenue administrations, and for each administration to effectively exchange information and to build up a stable and sustainable Office of the Competent Authority.
Grey market activity has been identified to be posing a threat to the profitability of businesses in the automobile sector. A grey market is a trade of a commodity through distribution channels that are legal but unintended by the original manufacturer. This is seen in the large importation of cars onto the Ghanaian market by individuals rather than representatives of the original car makers in the country. Speaking to Joy Business at the press conference before the launch of a new Jaguar F-Pace range, the operations director of Jaguar Land Rover Sub-Saharan Africa, Nigel Clark, urged the tightening of regulations on the importation of cars onto the market.
I think the real challenge, and it's not only in Ghana, it's in other countries as well, is there's a lot of grey market that comes in outside, which is not to Jaguar Land Rover, it's to a specification outside of Ghana. So there could be issues with fuel quality, there could be issues with technical quality. And that is much more of a challenge for us in Ghana and any other country in Africa than taxation. And because the cars come in, there's no control over the cars coming in. It's a large informal economy. It doesn't only affect Jaguar Land Rover, it affects many other brands as well. But to the consumer, he's buying a car that's not technically signed off from a specification or a fuel quality perspective for the Ghanaian market. We are seeing many markets introduce legislation or reduce the time span of how old a vehicle can be to come in. And that will help. And hopefully over time, those regulations, legislations will get tighter and tighter. But that's a real challenge for us and the consumers that buy those cars and bring them in to be serviced.
The potential of ICT as an enabling tool for leveraging economic development. Youth in ICT have been presented with the opportunity to expand their businesses. MTN Ghana Foundation has partnered with the Ghana Multimedia Incubation to promote the usage of digital application in the country. The project will see the training of some selected youth with innovative skills to develop viable business ventures. Corporate Services Executive of MTN Ghana, Cynthia Lumo, spoke to Joy Business.
MTN is partnering with the GMIC Ghana Multimedia Incubation Center because of the opportunity it provides to progress the use of digital applications. MTN Ghana Foundation which is the arm through which we do all of our corporate social investment activities, has 3 focus areas: education, health, and economic empowerment. And this partnership actually falls squarely in the area of economic empowerment, because a lot of the time you see that people have ideas and so on, and they don't really have the business savvy, or they don't have the help that they need to kind of take the business to the next level. So this partnership that MTN is having with GMIC is primarily to help that aspect of their business, give them the tools, give them the space, and give them the kind of capacity development that will help, because it is not just about developing applications. You also have to make sure that people believe in the applications that you are developing, people will invest in it, people will buy it, and so on.
And that's it for business for tonight. Thanks for your company. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Riafe. Israel comes up with more news.